Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. We are back. It's preseason basketball, but the Cavs will be on the floor tonight here at home to take on the Orlando Magic after dropping the preseason opener a couple days ago in dramatic late-game fashion, 108-107. Brendan Gulick, Spencer Davies with you with your pregame report after we just wrapped up a conversation, a nice one, and frankly, a longer one than normal with head coach JB Bickerstaff. Some of it was a little bit of a previewing tonight, but more of it was more Cavalier focused. So let's focus perhaps more on the Cavs, because I think when you're in preseason mode, there's an element of, you're competing. You want to win. The goal is to win, but the goal is to figure out what you got.
Yeah, you just got to be able to compete, and it's a chance for a lot of these guys, especially the two-way guys and the guys that are fighting for roster spots, to show their stuff. We know what Donovan Mitchell brings to the table. We know what Darius Garland brings to the table, Evan Mobley. It's really for those guys at the end of the bench that are really trying to make an impact, crack a rotation, crack a roster even. So that's what preseason's all about. However, you can do the stuff with the schematics. For example, in that Hawks game, the Cavs threw up 48 threes. All of last season, 50 was the highest amount they've ever attempted. So JB Bickerstaff was even talking about how this season that's going to happen a lot more. And he could see that number explode depending on how these teams play and defend them.
Pretty wild to think that, we're talking about a team that shot a three a minute. I mean, that's kind of wild, but that's also sort of how the game is played these days. And the reality is they've got the kind of team they think they can be really effective doing that. One of the guys, I don't know that we're going to see him chuck a lot of threes, but you might see it in George Niang. I loved watching him over the first week of practice when we were able to kind of see, some of the immediate aftermath of practice. He is clearly quite a fun character. He's a guy that I think Cavs fans are going to love getting to know. But I wanted to ask JB, hey, what is his value to you beyond just his personality? What's his biggest asset? I thought he gave a really nice response in essentially saying this guy can be a real glue for us because he knows how to do it, but the message and the way he delivers that message is critical.
He's tongue-in-cheek. I mean, that's a good way to kind of, what do you do with your friends? You always make fun of them. You always give them crap, right? But that also kind of builds a trust. It builds a bond, and that's just his personality. And from the on-the-court perspective, we know how good this guy is as a three-point shooter, career over 40%. So he brings that to the table. And then a plethora of other things, just from the leadership standpoint, from the playoff experience, and all of that stuff.
I guess I meant more that not that he was incapable of shooting threes, but more we won't see him shoot 10 a game.
A lot of shots going up.
But there are a lot of shots that are going to go up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I thought the other thing that Coach talked about that caught my attention was his comments on Damian Jones.
Yes, I agree. And I think that him talking about him picking the defense up like that, is huge, just because we know how valuable Jared Allen is to this team on that end of the floor and allowing Evan Mobley to roam a little bit. However, I was a little bit not confused, but I was a little bit surprised when he talked about how Damian Jones was able to pick up the offense a little bit more and how he's a better passer. So that's something that we might see a little bit more of in the preseason. It's a time to experiment. It's a time to try different things. And Damian's clearly going to have a little bit of a role here to start out the year.
Can't wait to see how this thing all evolves. And as a Cavs fan, you get to see what the team looks like here on the home court for the first time all preseason. Game gets underway at 7 o'clock, which is just about an hour and 15 minutes from now. Of course, we'll be here live post-game as well, both with Coach and I assume with a couple of players if things continue to hold true to form the way they did a year ago. And then we'll do a post-game stand-up just like this and tell you what we thought about the Cavs' second preseason game of the year. In the meantime, all the latest news and info on the team over for you live on CavsInsider.com.